All right, I'm back for Dust TS's ongoing coverage of the Blast TV Austin Major Stage 1. I'm here with Nitro of NRG ahead of their opening match tomorrow. So, to start, we see you guys come into this land right off of IEM Dallas, where, of course, things didn't go to plan with the squad facing elimination 0-2. Now, it has to be said that, two incredibly difficult opponents to face in your opening matches, especially with that run in the lower bracket. But how was the team feeling coming out of Dallas? Was there a sense of disappointment, or do you think you played to your level there?
It was definitely disappointing. We would have liked to do a lot better, obviously. Kind of got stomped. But the thing is, we knew that the major was coming like the next week or two, so we up until Dallas, we didn't really have like the best practice coming into it. So it was actually good that we were able to like really learn where our weaknesses lie after facing such good teams there. It was a bit unfortunate that the whole scheduling thing happened. Eternal Fire or Aurora flew in and they had to play like the same day or something, and then lost to Heroic. And who knows if they would have won if they were here earlier or not. I think they should have won the match. So just that's how it happened. We played two really tough teams. We're obviously not supposed to beat them, but we also didn't really like make it as competitive as we would have liked. So all in all, we learned a lot from the tournament about our team and ourselves, and we're just going to try to apply everything that we mess up there to this tournament and just do our best.
What do you think your main takeaways from Dallas are, and was that something you were able to focus on at the boot camp before the major? What were those main things you learned that you need to improve on, and then what was the process at the boot camp to sort of iron those out ahead of the major?
Um, it was just a lot of like different protocols and a lot of communication issues that we had, specifically in Dallas that we've been focusing on this week. Emotional part of the game, just more like niche stuff in a team aspect of the game. So that's pretty much like that was like our main takeaways from it. And then obviously like we reviewed the game and like fixed some tactics here and there. So it was more just like us though.
One thing I wanted to ask you about as the captain of the squad is we saw, unfortunately, a really poor performance from HexT in Dallas. It was Jaden's worst event ever in his long career. Why do you think he struggled so much? And was it something mental? Was it something off the server? Is there an explanation within the team for his performance? Because he's someone we would look to be a really strong rifling member on the squad.
I can't really like speak for him individually, but I know that he's been kind of saying he's like in a bit of a slump. But I think this week he's improved a lot for even from like the practices like that we were playing before the Dallas tournament. I think it's just all mental for him. I've definitely, I mean, through my career, I've seen even me myself. I've been through what he's going through right now, and it's just like it's like you just look for like ways like what's going wrong, like and then you start in your head like, oh, my mouse, like I gotta change settings here and there. But at the end of the day, you always find yourself going back to like your OG settings and you find your form again. So it's just all mental for him. I know how good he is. He shows it all the time in practice. So I'm sure he'll be fine this tournament. He's been playing good.
Has the practice this week been productive for you? I know you said in a recent interview with Blast that NA practice is the worst it's ever been in a while in terms of the caliber and productivity. With all these teams being in Austin for the major, has practice been better this week?
Oh yeah, it's been way better. Like the amount of practice we got this week against like top 10 teams was probably the equivalent of playing in NA for like 3 months. Like it's just you really get tested. Even like just losing a scrim in general, you can learn so much from. And we lost some scrims this week. We've won some scrims this week. We've had good results in scrims. We've had some scrims where we get owned and we watch it back like as a team and we're like we could do this better. We could do this better. But when you win every scrim and okay, not every scrim, I sound cocky, but when you win a lot of most of your scrims, like you don't like you don't really get tested. It's like you get to the point where it's like, oh, I can call anything and it'll probably work against these guys or like right now. So it's like a lot of it's kind of like almost replicating like a match environment where the CTs are forcing you to like adapt to how they're playing, and that's like practice that like you need as an IGL instead of just like looking at a piece of paper and being like, oh, we can call this, or we need to practice this A exec, or we need to go like do a B split, or it's like we need to fake this first and then do this. It's like it's just more like critical thinking from every player on the team, and sometimes you don't really like experience that in NA. Like people just run it down sometimes, and like you're like, oh, like I just got an ace, like cool, but you don't like learn from it. So yeah, that's pretty much like the TLDR.
Now, With this squad heading into stage one, compared to Dallas, where you were facing tier one opposition right off the bat, you're going to be facing admittedly lower caliber of opposition. The new 30, the new teams from 24 to 32. Do you think that's going to be good for you guys to kind of build into the major rather than having to go right into the maximum challenge of an Aurora right off day one?
Yeah, it's definitely way different. Like I've been waiting for kind of a tournament where it's like weaker opposition, so we can actually not face like Falcons in the first game or like like a Aurora or Eternal Fire like in the game two. Like I want to be able to like get into the tournament and like actually like show what we've got because like it's really hard when you don't live in Europe and you don't practice as much in Europe as you want to like be as good as you want. So I think it's really good for us to like kind of feel out the tournament and like start against like weaker opposition, and then like stage two is going to be harder, and then stage three will be obviously harder, and then yeah, just go from there. So right now we're just kind of taking it like stage by stage, and we said like each tournament or each stage is like its own tournament itself. Like you beat stage one, and then you try to qualify for stage two, and then so on. So we're just taking it like stage by stage, match by match, and just trying to show that we definitely have it, because I see a lot of people doubting us, and it actually just fuels me even more. So it is nice to actually see that people like. Okay, it's not nice to see that people are saying that, but it kind of just fuels us as a team to like do better and show like that we can do it.
The haters are his motivators, but he also likes the fans, of course. With that in mind, you're gonna be taking on TYLOO tomorrow in their opening match. How are you guys feeling about that match? Have you had a chance to study them at all? I know, back in the day, traditionally we always said Chinese teams play completely different Counter Strike. So how are you feeling about that match? And do you think they still play, or have they become more global in your estimation?
I think they have a lot of skill, and I haven't like fully studied them yet, so it's I don't think it's gonna be like more of like a macro like a hard macro game. Like they're faking here, they have lurkers coming out on the other side. It's gonna be like kind of brawly. So I think as long as we're like on our A game, like hitting our shots, I think we definitely have a good chance of beating them. We've had some practice versus like Lin Vision, for example, so we kind of feel out like their style because they're similar in like in the approach of things. So um, I think overall we are feeling confident. I know that they've been on a heater recently, so it's gonna be a fun game.
The best team in China versus one of the best domestic teams in North America. Definitely one to watch. Thank you so much for your time, Nitro.
Thanks.